Good evening and salutations, my Days of Alive fans. uh, Allie and Chanel. Allie and Chanel. You know, in a lot of ways, they belong together because both of those two are a pair of idiots. Okay? I've made no secret that I don't like either of them, but they belong together because I feel like if they were with anyone else, they're going to make that person miserable. It's like EJ and Sammy. You know, they both could be some really terrible people at times, but they belong together because, well, you'd rather those two be together than them ruining somebody else's lives. Start off with Chanel. This woman sounds like an idiot. Um, so Johnny comes by to get to chit chatting a little bit, and Chanel shows her jealousy, and also just how much of an idiot that she is. She's all like, oh, well, you trying to be with Ava, and Ava's old enough to be your mother, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, first of all, sweetheart, stop, okay? Because you're coming across as judgmental, and you wouldn't want anyone judging you, but you have no problems that they're judging someone else. And then Johnny points out the fact that, with her, it's not so much about like as far as her attraction goes, it's not so much about age or gender or anything like that, but it's about personality and energy and just who they are, their essence. And he was like, well, if that's the case, then why are you judging me on me going out with another woman? And it was one of those things where it's like, Johnny didn't really have to try that hard to make her look stupid, but she thought about it and she was like, oh, yeah. And the whole time, I'm just like, even when Johnny called her out as far as being jealous, she was like, no, 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 this is wrong and that's wrong. And I'm like, God, this woman. Allie came back. Now, eventually Allie came back. Now, Allie was with Ava. And, to some extent, as much as I do not like Allie, I understood her concerns when it came towards her brother. I mean, Ava did a lot of terrible things. To Steve, to Kayla, to Rafe, the list just goes on. So, getting involved with Johnny, she has reservations about that. Yeah, she doesn't like Johnny at times. They don't seem eye to eye. Their relationship is strained, but at the end of the day, that's her brother. And given the number what she did to Rafe, when things didn't go her way, yeah, I can understand where she's coming from. So even yesterday, I'm sitting there looking at it, and this is how much I don't like Allie. Is that I tend to get so blinded at times by not liking someone that I can't sit there and kind of see the logic of where she's coming from. Um, then at some point she talks about, oh well, I thought y'all two were together and this, that, and the third, and Ava was like, no, he came by, we both got kicked out, and he slept on the couch. I mean, he slept on the floor. She was like, oh, well, I just assumed. It was like, yeah, see, that was your problem right there. You assumed. But you know what? Even if they were just friends, because she was like, we're just friends. He's been helping me out. I mean, let's be honest. Ava doesn't exactly have the best track record in general for people who cross her. So, once again, I'm going to give this to Allie. And when Allie came back, she was sitting there talking to Johnny, and Johnny was like, can I sit there and crash? And she was like, why should I let you? And at first I was like, what? But then, she brought up the whole, Johnny teamed up with Paulina to kind of break those two up. And I was like, yeah, Allie got a point. I was like, yeah, Allie got a point. So after he apologized, she was like, yeah, just don't get too used to it. I'm like, bro, he did owe her an apology. In the beginning, I was like, maybe it's not too late to just kind of suck up to your dad and just be like, you know what, my bad. But he did owe her an apology. He did. She chose, and he just had to sit there and accept it. And he didn't, and he chose to act in a very immature, bratty kind of manner. So I got to sit there and side with her on that. And she did actually, you know, like she could have been like, yeah, that's cool, but you can kick rocks. But she didn't. So give her points for that. I give her points for that. As much as I don't like that woman, and oh my god, I don't like her, I give her points for that. You know, Kristen, and this judge, you would almost make it seem. I mean, the way that this courtroom was run, if you didn't really, if you didn't, how do I sit there and say this? Um, One can almost sit there and think that she bought the judge. The way that she was just running that whole show, and she brings up Brady's past crimes or whatever with Philip, and Brady's like, yo, the charge was dismissed. Like, what are you talking about? But she still brought that up, and I'm just like, wait, I don't understand. And now that I think about this, I'm like, so even though that what happened with Brady, it was dismissed, the judge kind of still looked at that. But when Brady brung up all her past incidents, the judge was like, "Oh, well, she got a full part," and I'm like, "Okay, well, he got his charges dismissed." So, like, I don't understand. Of course, Brady being Brady, the guy who acts first and thinks. I don't know. I still got that horrible impression from him when I first started watching the show, and he went to take down Titans from the inside and kind of just destroy it. And I'm like, "But you're running the show. How does that work?" Anyway, he pretty much let Kristen go to him, started getting all mad and angry and just causing outbursts and brung up the whole letter opener thing. And, Bella was like, yo, Bella told him before, like, that's not a good idea because she's going to sit there and try to twist that around. So, of course, Brady, getting angry, decided to bring up the letter opener. And at this point, it was not going Brady's way. Now, Bella has some people to sit there and testify on his behalf, but, the judge was like, listen, we went through a lot today. We'll pick this up tomorrow, which is really bad for Brady because not only is things not going his way, but now he has to sit and think about that into the next day. I mean, imagine losing it in court. You can't do anything. You just gotta go home and try to sleep and have that on your mind the entire time. What's your situation? Now, when Brady left, Bella was not there trying to get her to, reason with. Like, yo, listen, when you were gone, Brady was a great dad. You taking Rachel away is not going to do Rachel any favors. It's only going to sit there and traumatize her. She loves her dad, and she's like, maybe we can find a way to, compromise and share custody. Now, the entire time I was sitting there looking at how this whole trial was going and seeing the facial expressions, I was like, Brady, you wanted this, okay? You kept poking the bear. You and Chloe kept poking the damn bear. You know how Kristen stabbed Victor in the heart with a knife. Does this woman seem like somebody you want to, get on her bad side or anything like that? On top of the fact that her crimes have, she's been partying, she has money, she has influence, and the courts usually tend to side with the women, or I don't know if that's still true, but there's a saying that they tend to side with the mother. And you thought it was a good idea to try to go for sole custody. Gee, I wonder what can go wrong We have all of that, what I just said, laid out. But yeah, Bella sits there and tries to get her to listen to reason. And listen, here's the thing. Actually, I like Kristen, but Kristen wants Brady back. Kristen wants revenge on Chloe. Kristen wants both of them to break up. She wants that more than she wants her own daughter to be happy. Because she kept saying that, when Bella's like, you gotta think about your daughter, you love your daughter, you gotta do what's best for her first. She's like, I'm her mother. Of course, of course I love her and this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay, you love her, but you love your own self interest more, which is really sad because she said that to Chad not a couple weeks ago when she was like, you're stronger than I am. You would ask for help. Um, with me, I just kind of just do what I want. But you would sit there and think after having the conversation with Chad, seeing the things that you're doing, you would want to change. But you know, Kristen being Kristen, that's just not how she just can't change her nature. Is what it really comes down to. Now I want to talk about Gaby and Shin for a minute because Gaby. Here's the thing: Shin, in reality, is a scumbag. Okay, let's just be very clear about that. Before going on Gaby, Shin is a scumbag. Okay, and he's also kind of dumb. Like he's arrogant as hell. And when Gabby was sitting there asking questions like, "Well, we saw Shen. I mean, we saw Stefan. Neighbor says she saw Stefan. Yet when I got there, you said you caught her from falling, so you must have saw Stefan. So why did you sit there and say that you didn't see anyone?" Now at that point, Gabby had Shin dead to rights. Okay, literally did. And Shem was not there trying to shake it off, like, no, what are you talking about? Um, oh, Ava could have still been hallucinating and this, that, and the third. And Gabby was like, no, 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 this doesn't really add up. So Shen is like, so what are you sitting there saying that I'm a liar or something? What are you trying to accuse me of? I'm like, now at this point, I feel like Gabby should sit there and press him because what he's saying at this point literally makes no sense. Like she literally caught him in a lie, and she should sit there and press him because what he's saying is not making any sense. And this is the dude that you said you're going to marry. You can't even have a conversation with this guy without feeling like there's something off about the stuff that he's saying. Anyway, Shin kind of deflects the situation, talking about, oh yeah, I saw stuff in here. Now this is where I go in on Gabby. Okay, this is where I go in on Gabby. Because Shin was like, yeah, well, Stefan was here, but he went to go see Chloe, and I guess he wants to sit there and get back together with her. Well, he didn't say that, but this is when Gabby starts to shoot herself in the foot. Keep in mind, she said yes to Shin's proposal, um, for marriage or whatever. But yet she's sitting there saying things like, oh, well, the only love of his life was me, and I don't understand, like, you can't remember me, and this, that, and the third. Like, all the conversations, the way that she talks about her feelings, like, oh, well, how could he sit there and forget her? How could he forget me? He was just with Chloe for a little bit, you know, um, he still holds my heart. No, I still hold his heart and stuff like that. And I'm like, you do realize that this man literally got down on one knee and he is engaged to you. He thinks that he's going to spend the rest of his life with you. But yet you keep talking about stuff and well, I don't understand how you can forget me. And I feel like any man in that situation would have been like, I'm sorry, does that change anything? Like, I mean, I get that he's going after Chloe, but why should that matter to you? And it was so obvious that she was so bothered by that. And again, any man would have sat there and called her out. Now I know a lot of people are saying, well, Stefan is the love of um Stefan is the love of Gabby's life and they belong together and this, that, and the third. And this is where people start to drop I don't want to sit there and say drop logic, but you know, they ship them together, they want them together, and it doesn't necessarily have to make a lot of sense. And to some extent, I agree with that, but even though I said that Shen is a scumbag, Gabby is being hella disrespectful. You know, I mean, she was being hella disrespectful, hella disloyal. Um, and then towards the end, she was like, "Well, I gotta be by myself for a little bit. I just need some time to myself." And I'm just like, Gabby, if you really feel that way, like if you, because here's the thing, she clearly still has feelings for Stefan. She still wants to be with Stefan, even though, yeah, she accepted a marriage proposal from Shen. She still wants to be with Stefan. And here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with changing your mind. There's nothing wrong with to saying, listen, I know that I said we was going to be together and everything like that, but I never really fully got over Stefan. See, that was her problem with Jake. She used Jake as a substitute for Stefan. Yeah, she had her own love for Jake, but at the end of the day, the dude was just a placeholder for somebody that she couldn't get. And, granted, she said even after when she was with Sonny, she was like, I should have just been honest with myself. You know, I should have just been honest with myself. Now she has another chance to do that, to be honest with herself. But instead of her sitting there telling the truth, she's just like, I need some time. Time for what? What do you mean? What do you mean you need some time? You not see that ring on your finger that I just bought you? Now Shen was like, listen, I'll be here for you and whatever. And granted, no, I don't feel like it's because a part of me is just like, I understand that she needs some time and stuff like that, but I'm just looking at it like she doesn't need any time. She knows exactly what she wants. Okay, she got proposed to not that long ago, and yet she's sitting there kissing Stefan the minute that she finds out that he's back. So she doesn't need any time. She's just stalling at best and trying to force herself to move forward because she knows that right now Stefan doesn't have any feelings for her. Now Stefan's sitting there trying to make a play for Chloe, and Chloe tells her that I'm with Brady at this point. A lot of the stuff that Stefan is saying, this stuff is in the past to Chloe. Calling Gabby names and to say, "Oh, I regret this, that, and the third." But Chloe's like, listen. At the end of the day, I'm with Brady, and we're together, and that's just how it is. So she tells him more or less to just, listen. You got to go right now. But Stefan's like, let's not leave. But I'm not going to give up on you. When Brady comes back, he finds out the news that Stefan is back. Stefan comes to EJ, and EJ is like, "Oh, welcome home" and stuff like that. You returned, and you returned from the dead. It just must be in our genes or whatever. Now, here's the thing: EJ needs to understand that he's not dealing with Jake. Okay, I'm not saying that Jake isn't. I'm not saying that Jake was stupid or anything like that, but I feel like he can pull the wool. He can pull the wool. It'll be easier for him to pull the wool over Jake's eyes than it would be Stefan's. So, Stefan just calls out like, listen, yeah, I talked to you, but you have bandages. I mean, we're strangers, so like, why are you being so, like, why are you being so nice to me for? Like, yeah, we share DNA, but we're not besties or anything like that. But EJ's like, I want to sit there and take back the company, and since you're back, the shares should go back to Stefan. Now, I don't know how those things work. I mean, logic would suggest, yeah, he's back in the land of the living. So those shares that she only got because he died. Now he's back. Why shouldn't the shares go back to him? Um, going to be so interesting. Because if he decides he wants to take those shares back, there's not really much that Shane can do. I mean, yeah, Shane can sit there and vote for Gabby, but it's going to be one of those things where it's like I don't know if she would actually win this time. And I'm just looking at this whole reunion with EJ and Stefan, and I'm just like, EJ, you're not dealing with Jake anymore. Okay, you're not dealing with Jake anymore. And I feel like um he's going to try to pull the wool over Stefan's eyes, and Stefan is not going to take too kindly to that. I don't know Stefan's temperament, and I don't know exactly how far he would go. I know EJ. Well, EJ don't really. At times, he seems like he doesn't even give a damn about his own son. So this is going to be interesting. I remember a couple weeks ago when the whole Swiss thing happened. He had the actors sit there talking, and the actor that plays Stefan now was like, I think Stefan could take EJ. And the actor was like, I don't know about that. So we're gonna sit there and see just how interesting that this whole thing plays out. Oh, one of the things that Allie did was apologize. Well, she gave her condolences to Ava as far as Jake was concerned. I was wondering when that was gonna happen. I guess after she finished giving her the third degree, eventually I was gonna come up. I don't know. When I watched the episode, I was still just like, man, I can't stand that woman, Allie. But then after I finished watching it, I had to calm down. I was like, there's a lot of good points. And trust me, when I give out these points to these characters, especially a character like Allie, I mean, I don't even think I have to say it at this point. I think that's about it. Or at least the most pertinent information I can think of. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I was actually really looking forward to this episode. Even when I was watching GH and it was just dry and boring and dull and just a whole bunch of other negative things I can sit there and say about the show. I was just sitting there watching. I was like, man, I can't wait to watch Days. I wonder what's going on with Days. Uh, I don't know. Um, you know what? Every now and then I'm gonna sit there and say this, just because it does help get people to discover the channel and stuff like that. If you can share the video, I know people, see the likes and stuff like that, and I really do appreciate that also. So, definitely continue to hit the likes if you like the video, but also share the video because that really does help as well. Um, Usually my numbers are higher with GH than Days, except for one time. I shot up to the roof. But I want to start getting Days numbers high. I want to try. I mean, I still love GH, and I want those numbers to be high. And in a perfect world, I want them to both be high. But if I had to sit there and choose, you know what? I don't want to sit there and sound ungrateful, but I want to try to get these numbers high as well. So that will definitely help me go in the right direction. Um, so yeah, like I said, this Sunday, and I said this in the live yesterday, but this Sunday, it's gonna be me, DC. We're gonna be talking about the self. It's gonna be me, DC, and a special guest. And I don't want to say special guest, but I feel like that's the only way I can label it. We're gonna be sitting here talking about the soaps. So it's not gonna be a live stream Sunday, but throughout the remaining days when I'm off, I'll sit there and plan live and make a post and stuff like that. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next video.